That's not to say the porcupine can't go on the offensive. They often strike with their tails to stab predators with their quills. This design feature isn't perfect though. Porcupines have been known to fall out of trees and accidentally stab themselves with their own spines. So, you'd have to be pretty unlucky to get impaled by a porcupine, right? Well, kinda. While most older animals know not to mess with this walking reverse pincushion, occasionally a juvenile big cat gets curious. When threatened, a porcupine activates small follicle muscles over its body, erecting the quills into a spiny defense pattern. These quills, particularly concentrated on the crest and rump of the porcupine, fan out, creating an almost impenetrable shield around the rear of their bodies. Now, if you remember, these quills are hollow, meaning that when they hit each other, they create an intimidating rattle, similar to the one used by the rattlesnake. And we said, most older predators have learned their lesson as kids messing with porcupines, so they have to be pretty hungry to want to engage seriously. Most lionesses eventually get bored and move on. But not all animals are as wise, and sometimes the showdown is on. Who do you think would win between a porcupine and a leopard? How about a lion? Is there any other animal that you think could make light work of the porcupine? Let us know in the comments below. Otherwise, keep watching. Leopards are notorious for not only their ferocity, but also their massively varied diet. They're the guy at the buffet keen to try out every single option, no matter how much the oysters disagree with him.
You lost it!
So it comes as no surprise that, on occasion, leopards try to add porcupines to their afternoon snack. At first, the interaction is one of confusion. If you had to eat a cactus, where would you even start? Porcupines favor their defensive rear end position, making sure their quills are always facing the threat. The leopard can only really paw at the waving quills, trying to find an opening. More often than not, leopards will end up with a few warning barbs, and the porcupines escape into the horizon. Other times, it's not so pretty. With enough quills that find their mark, leopards can very quickly find themselves impaled on up to 100 9-inch needles. While this is incredibly painful, having this many porcupine quills stuck in you is actually life-threatening. Quills stuck in the mouth prevents animals from chewing, eating, drinking, or swallowing, leading to a slow, agonizing death. Now, despite this hardcore defense mechanism, sometimes hunger is a more powerful motivator. This leopard fought through the pain and managed to bag his next spiky meal. But successful hunts like this aren't common, and other animals have tried and failed to take down the mighty porcupine. Sometimes, snakes don't know any better and try to go for a quick porcupine pick-me-up. That's if they can get past the rattling defensive spike shield first. But let's just say a snake managed to sneak up on a porcupine face first. In South Africa's Lake Eland Nature Reserve, cyclists noticed an engorged African rock python lying on the side of the road. Judging by the bulge, it was pretty obvious that the 13-foot snake had recently eaten a big meal. It wasn't uncommon for pythons of this size to swallow small impalas or warthogs whole and just lay around lethargically for a day or two while they digest it. This python, however, was clearly struggling. It was breathing heavily, and moving the bulge down its body seemed to be a lot more difficult than normal. A few days later, other visitors to the reserve found the python dead. The reserve manager collected the snake and performed a dissection, revealing a large porcupine. The entire internal length of the snake was impaled by quills, completely shredding the snake's insides. When you consider that the damage of a porcupine's quills is intensified by muscular movement, spare a thought for this python, whose entire body is one continuous muscle, running against a grain of 300 porcupine javelins. Good times. Over in North America, New World porcupines are armed with thinner, smaller quills. However, their damage can be just as deadly. Curious dogs often get their noses way too close to the business end of a porcupine and can end up with a painful, spiky quill beard that makes eating and drinking impossible. Removal of these spines is so painful, dogs often have to be heavily sedated before the 200+ quills can be removed. While it's a tough lesson to learn, porcupines shouldn't be messed with. No meal is that delicious that you'd risk your face just to dig in. Unless you're a fan of cactus cuisine or have a fetish for needles, my advice is to just steer clear. And that's all we have time for today. If you have any suggestions of future video topics, please let us know downstairs in the comments below. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to drop a like. And if you're not already subscribed, please hit that big red button right now. See you next time.